My name is Max Kerman. I guess this is a music blog, so I'll tell you that I am a musician. I sing in the Arkells. I play a little guitar. And but if this was like a basketball blog, I'd say I'm a shoot first point guard, and I don't play much defense. My newest obsession. I'm into this show. It's a doc, the Jinx. I just finished watching it. It's a documentary on Robert Durst, this millionaire New York real estate mogul who's like killed a bunch of people and got away with it. I recommend it. It's on HBO. And actually, the show Bloodline, which is Netflix's new show. I'm a big fan of Friday Night Lights, and Coach T plays one of the main characters in Bloodline. And that's a great show too. The one artist that really has that probably changed my whole view on like the way I think about music, because when I was in grade like 9 and 10, you know a lot of kids like in rock bands, their formative years were spent listening to like 90s grunge rock and alternative music. I was more into like R&B and hip hop, and I still love those, like Destiny's Child and Nelly. You know, I'm talking early 2000s music, but my foray back into kind of rock music was Ben Folds and Ben Folds 5, and I think everybody should listen to Whatever and Ever, Amen. I think that record is so incredible. It's the most unique thing like out there. I can't think of any other record or any other band that sounds like Ben Folds 5. They're like a 3-piece punk rock band, but the lead singer is playing a grand piano. And lyrically, it's like better than anything you've heard. They play off each other. It's all sort of done live off the floor. It's completely unique, and it totally stands the test of time. Oh, wow. You know, it's funny. People ask me about gear all the time, and I kind of don't care about gear at all. Like, I've been using the same junk telly for the last, 6 years. And I thought about buying new guitars, and it's just too stressful for me. And I don't really care about pedals. I had to get a new amp because I was using, a $100 PV amp, and the guys were like, we're not letting you go on stage with that thing anymore. So I just asked Mike if he'd sell me his old Fender Deluxe Reverb that he didn't use anymore. He's like, all right. So to answer your question, I really like the aux in. If you're in a car and there's an aux in, so I can plug my iPod or iPhone in there. That's my favorite piece of musical gear. If you don't have aux in, it drives me fucking nuts, because sometimes with me in a studio, like a beautiful studio, I'm like, hey, can I just play something on my phone? I just want to show it to you, and then they're like, oh no, we don't know how to do that. You have to send it to my computer or something. Like, no, give me an aux in. Give me the cable and the thing. Aux in. The Beatles, I guess. What band do I wish? I mean, I think there's so many good bands out there. It would be fun to be a fly on the wall with the Eagles. I think, just to hear them argue with each other. They're all narcissistic, greedy, but totally genius creatives. I'll say the band, because the band, have all the moving parts working together, and their music was sort of like the backbone of rock and roll. They're taking from the blues, and they're taking from rockabilly and soul and everything. So I love the band. He chose me, God. No. No. It's funny. I was talking to Lauren, my girlfriend, about this. When anybody says God put me on earth to do something, 99.9% of the time it's not true. That person kind of probably got lucky. I definitely put myself in that category too, the fact that I can be a full-time musician. And so, what was the question again? Hold on, I'm not done with that thought. No, I'll get back to the question. So, yeah, but I think only Beyonce and Taylor Swift are the only two people that were put on earth to do music. Everybody else could have done something else, and they got just lucky. So why did I choose to get music? I got lucky, because there's lots of talented dudes out there that don't get to, do it full time or get paid to do it. And so we were presented with a great opportunity, and we said, oh my God, we got to try our hardest to hold on to this great thing, because the guy from The National has a good quote about feeling like he's been playing hooky for the last 15 years. Someone's gonna say, hey, go back and do your job, doing accounting or something. So we always feel really lucky and grateful that we get to be a full-time band, because it's a precious, rare thing. My dream band lineup. So I'd have to go through each instrument. Okay, on drums. Maybe Phil Collins, because he can sing too. But I guess Levon would be good. I'm going to go with Phil Collins. Phil Collins on drums. Paul McCartney on bass, for sure. On piano, Ben Folds, why not? Over Elton. But because I like the band, I want a piano and an organ player. So on organ, who would I choose? Not any of those like 70s like prog rock guys. I hate that kind of music. I'd probably do something more like, instead of organ, I'd do like an electronic like keyboard kind of thing. So Mark Ronson on organs, keyboard, synth duty. Electric guitar, I'd probably choose Nels Klein from Wilco. Is it Nels?
Yep.
Nels Klein. On guitar, on acoustic guitar, I can't say John Lennon because I've already used one Beatle. Who else do I like? What are my favorite bands? I'm drawing a blank right now. I hope you can cut this and make it really sharp. Who else do I like, Adam? On guitar, I would...
Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson, he's a good strummer. Better strummer than I am. Acoustic guitar, Jack Johnson. And lead singer, I'd probably do Beyonce. I'm really into podcasts, so I'd be creating a podcast of some sort, like a political podcast. Oh, I mean, I go back to podcasts. It's all I listen to. I can't really do anything without listening to a podcast. So Slate Magazine has a couple really good Political Gabfest and Slate Hang Up and Listen, it's a sports one. There's Freakonomics Radio, Planet Money, which is great. The New Yorker has a podcast. ESPN has some good podcasts. Grantland. WTF, Mark Maron. I was listening to that today. Actually, I was listening to an interview with Britt Daniel from Spoon today. He was just on the show. So podcasts definitely, they sort of keep me company. They keep me warm, you know? Yeah, there's a lot of good ones, actually. We've been lucky to play a lot of them. The Commodore in Vancouver is really cool. We got to open for some bands at the 930 Club, which is a famous venue in Washington, D.C. We got to play at the El Rey in L.A. We were opening for Tokyo Police Club there. That was really cool. But the Danforth Music Hall in Toronto is actually a great venue. We did a couple nights there, and it was great. So I didn't give you one night, sorry. I just gave you 6. Oh, Town Ballroom, Buffalo. Love Town Ballroom. So the future of music, I mean, it's evolving. It's sort of a combination of all the music from the past, sort of melded together. I think people's attention spans are getting smaller and smaller, so you have to kind of hit them hard, or at least create I don't know. It's a good question. But the thing I am pretty certain of is that live music seems to be pretty healthy, and people seem to like going to concerts and getting dressed up. So that's good for me. It's like, hey, what are you wearing to the Arkells show? What are you wearing to Osheaga? What are you wearing to Coachella? People like talking about that. So as long as they're going through the gate and paying some money for that, and and I'm getting some, it's okay.